it's Jim from Alliance Relocation. Today is, what is today, Monday? I think it's February 22nd. I am in not so sunny Phoenix. Being from Syracuse, New York, I was so excited to get out of the clouds and out of the snow, and I kind of got halfway there. It's a lot warmer, but it's really cloudy here. But enough of that. I have the pleasure to have with me today Susan Ratliff. Susan is of Exhibits. Her book is Exhibit Like an Expert. And the reason I asked Susan to spend a couple minutes with us here today is I just went to her seminar. And this is a great thing AMSA offered to suppliers and also its moving members, is an expert. Susan is an author, an entrepreneur, and a speaker. And so she spent about an hour talking about tips, tactics for success at Exhibit. So I thought, Susan, if you would be so kind as to share a few of those points with Alliance and our in the industry, please.
I'd be happy to. Yeah, I was really excited to be able to speak to this group of attendees at this trade show because, there's so many things a person can do to make their booth exciting and draw traffic and attention, and a lot of people have never been taught how to do that.
Yeah.
A simple example of the types of information you have on your graphics. You want to speak to the customer about their problems, their needs, and you know your customers. You know the top problems that your customers always complain about. You know the top solutions they're looking for.
Yeah.
And when a person puts those types of benefits on their graphics, on their trade show display, it goes a long way to closing a sale as opposed to putting up everything you do.
Right.
All the things you have, all the things you do, because really the customer's out for what's in it for me.
Right.
And that's how you need to lead with that information to capture their attention.
Interesting. Now, Susan, also, you talked a lot about preparation, and I think, coming to these shows is not inexpensive. And so often, and I have to admit, I've been guilty of this, is you kind of show up and you've got your standard display that you use and you put it up, and not only are organizations oftentimes not prepared, but talk about follow-up. Talk about some of the statistics that you shared on follow-up.
Well, I'll tell you what, let's first talk about goal setting, because you talk about planning to come to the show. You have to have some goals in mind.
Yeah.
And a lot of times people, they come to the show, they stick the salespeople in there, and they think, okay, I'm here, But really, there's a lot of things you can accomplish at the show. Obviously, you want to get leads. That's very important. Capture the customer's name, address, phone number, email. So once you've got them, you can continue to feed them with your newsletter, with your special offers, trying to sell them at a later date. Maybe you want to take a survey, or you want to do some market research while you're there, or debut a new product or service. So before you go to the show, plan with your sales staff what you want to accomplish. Make them accountable. Give them a reason or an incentive to accomplish those goals, how many leads you want, and those sorts of things. And speaking of leads, I'll tell you some of those statistics. The Center for Exhibition Industry Research says that 80% of all companies that exhibit in trade shows collect leads. But 75% of those leads are never followed up. Can you believe that? It's like, what do they do with them? And a lot of times the companies wait too long to follow up. 15, 20 days before they talk to those people. And you better believe it, your competition has already talked to them 3 days after the show. So you're a day late and a dollar short if you don't send them a follow-up letter, make a phone call, thank them for coming to the booth, give them an incentive to buy from you, tell them, what happened at the show and what's coming up next month for you, what trade shows you're going to be in the next 6 months. Those are good things to do to communicate with those leads that you've gotten, but follow them up and follow them up fast.
Terrific. Susan, thank you so much for
You're
being
welcome.
here. Folks, Susan, I've been doing trade shows for 20 years, and I learned more in the last hour listening to her seminar than I've ever learned in those 20 years. So thanks for being with us. Get her book. Check out your blog.
Website?
Is that?
Well, Susan at Susan Ratliff Presents, or Susan at Susan Ratliff, or SusanRatliffPresents.com, or go to my blog, blingmybooth.com, and find out all kinds of new ideas to make your booth stand out.
Cool. Thanks a lot for joining us.